Allow yourself to take in a deep breath. And we'll call upon the light of God that never fails. Our own higher self, Holy Christ self. All the ascended masters that we work with, our own ancestors. All the beings of light who work with us. And beloved Mother Mary, who holds the light for all of us and who inspired this session. Allow yourself to take in a deep breath. And exhale. And just place your hand in your heart and thank yourself for showing up. For when a gift is given and it's not received, it turns into a curse. You heard the calling of your soul and you beckoned. So thank yourself. Wonderful. So hey, magnificent women, this is Kugeni, founder of the School of Magnificent. And I was inspired to do a Finding Love webinar for women who are finding love. Because it's not just about finding love in relationship, it's finding love in what we are doing. It's finding love in life and finding love in ourselves, for ourselves, loving our bodies, loving who we are. It's just the finding of love. Because in truth, love is always around us. It's an infinite pool that's always around us. And it's a question of, why is it we're not tapping into it? So what you'll expect in this, because who is this for? So this is for that woman who knows there's something more out there. You probably have been in other relationships and you felt like there's still something missing. Yes, it was a relationship, but maybe the love was not there. Maybe the chemistry was not there. But my favorite is the magic wasn't there. The spark was missing. And working with women over a period of time, I started realizing, then what is it exactly that blocks women from love? I can share with you a few examples. I'll tell you more throughout this presentation. But one of the things we found out, it's usually some kind of an emotional block. I remember a client who came to see me a few years ago, and what was stopping her from being in the relationship she wants was the relationship she'd had with her father. She had had a very difficult relationship with her father, who had made her believe she was ugly and no man would ever want to love her. But she held on to that story. She held on to that narrative, and she started attracting men who treated her like the way her father had seen her. And I remember throughout the session, we did this exercise where I told her to visualize a box. And in this box, I said to her, I want you to think of everything your father said to you that you didn't like. And you're going to put it back into this box. And she was like, she put it all there. She said, I'm ugly, I'll never make it, nobody will ever love me, I'm not smart enough, whatever it was. She was a very emotional session. And eventually I told her, okay, I want you to pick the box. I want you to give it back to your father. I remember at that moment, she went like, it is so heavy. I said, yes, but that's what you've been carrying on yourself. And so she was able to hand it back to her father. And things started changing in her life. Even the relationship with her father changed. She took her power back. She learned to love herself. Then the next time I'm seeing her, she's like, she found a man who loves her. and who was treating her the way she wanted to be treated. It's really hard if we don't know how to identify exactly what is blocking us. And it could work in so many levels of our soul in a way we don't know. I'll be able to share with you my own personal story later on and how I came upon this healing journey. And what to expect in this is how can you identify what is blocking you to have the love that you want? Because if you want something and it's physically not there, it's not physically available, it hasn't shown up in your life, something is in its way. So it takes courage to be able to identify that. And then there's the programming. Can you just think of the things you were told about relationships? You know, what were you told to look for in a man? Look at through your teenage years. Look at the people, like, for example, if you had elder sisters, if you had a whole girls' schools. I was in a girls' school, and you start picking up from the other girls who are, who are more learned, the girls who had boyfriends at 16, and your mother is telling you, you know what, you bring a boy home, you're dead, So, but then they'll tell you all these things, and you start thinking it's about you giving your power to boys. So we are taught all these things that with time we start realizing, wait, that is not true. That doesn't work. Or he has to be tall, dark, and handsome. He has to work in this kind of a job. He has to have this kind of qualifications. That's what we are told to look for. But in truth, we attract what we are. We attract what we are. And we attract what we are. So let me get this going. There we are. So this is our presentation today, and it's on magnificent magic relationships and finding love. It's our Valentine's special, and I intend to be doing this every year because my goal is to make sure a woman finds love every year. Even though it's one, that's enough. It makes a huge difference. One of the things we look at is how to let go of past heartbreak. Identifying what's holding you back and the one thing you can do to move forward. So what's the takeaway? Understanding your own emotional blocks. Love is of the heart, and the heart is the center of emotion. How do you open your heart to love again and our deservingness to love? Because when we feel we are not worthy and deserving of love, that is how we block love. So I wanted to share with you my own personal story. That picture there is a picture of me and my birth mother. And it was the first time I reconnected with my birth mother since I was a child. And I never grew up with my birth mother. And so she'd had to give me up when I was a baby. And when we were reconnecting, she was able to kind of see the woman I had become. She knew me as a baby, she knew me as a little girl, and she was not in my journey pretty much, the journey of transformation of me from a girl to a woman. And that picture for me is one of the happiest moments of my life and the most healing moment of my life as well. The time I went to see my mother, I had just felt so much in my life was, I don't know, so much was just not working. I had either been in the wrong relationship. Actually, the current relationship I was in then was not what I would have called my magic relationship. And I remember after meeting my mom, because that was in Kenya, and I live in Australia. Back then, I used to live in Western Australia. I flew back into the country, and the first thing I did was to break up in the relationship I was in, at least the last 14 months I was in a relationship. But I'll tell you what had happened after I went to see my mom. I understood what love felt like. even though I had never had a template, there was something about that picture and the moment. There's a warmness. There was a feeling of softness. There was a nurturing. There was a compassion. Even as I'm saying this, I'm getting emotional because I felt so bathed in love when I saw my mom, and nothing mattered. Like if I had shown up there wearing tatters, it wouldn't have mattered because the way she just wanted to see me, it wasn't because I was working as an electrical engineer. Those things didn't even matter. It was just the fact I was enough. And I didn't need to do anything to deserve that love. And for the longest time, I used to think, I used to tell myself, oh, my mom had abandoned me, all this, and I didn't know her story. And I remember after visiting her, that's when I realized she never went one night, not even one night, to bed, never getting on her knees and praying for me and saying, God, please take care of my little baby girl. She may be in Australia, she may be somewhere else, but God, just think how much love it takes for you to every day remember that child you gave away. And here I was living life feeling abandoned. I had the fear of attachment. I had the fear of love. My relationships were very shallow. And I used to be drawn to men who would reject me. So you have to put all the work, like you're almost throwing yourself on them. And they don't want you. You know what I mean? And it comes from that fear of rejection, which I'd had, of course, as part of my upbringing. But what was interesting is just reconnecting with my mother was all the healing. It did more for my healing than any transformation, any crystal healing, any regression, any plant medicine, anything I had done with the church. Reconnecting with my mother for me was the most transforming thing I ever did. And that healed a part of myself that had believed I was not deserving of love. So it's really, really important. Now when I work with women and I help women, I help them ask themselves, is there a part of me? I want you to write this down. Somewhere, if you got a book, is there a part of me that thinks I'm not worthy and deserving of love? It can be just a small part. I'll give you an example. I was working as an electrical engineer, which means career-wise, in terms of me using my brains, you're smart, you're doing all the things you wanted to do. I'd always wanted to be an engineer since school. For me, I was the physics chemistry person. But internally, there was still a little girl that was still crying for her mom. And that is what I needed to heal. So it doesn't matter, you see people, top CEOs in organizations, and they're working and they're like really, really good top CEOs. But they're also looking for love. It's something so cosmic. So what is the part of you that needs healing? Because that's the part that does not believe it's deserving and worthy of love. And the next thing I want you to write down is why. What is the story you've been telling yourself that you're not worthy and deserving of love? So for example, in my case, I used to think because my mother abandoned me, and she had not abandoned me. She actually did not have the capacity to raise me. That's a different story than she abandoned me because she did not love me. And if my mother did not love me, then who will? So you see, sometimes we tell stories that are disempowering. I worked with a woman in a healing circle, and I remember when we shared this, she just burst into tears, and she said, my ex told me I was ugly. And she was a beautiful girl, but because somebody who you looked up to told you you're ugly, then sometimes we believe that. So which part of ourselves needs that healing? And because she thought she'd believed she was ugly, then she'd bought into that story and thought she was not worthy and deserving of love. So what have you told yourself? Think about it, maybe through schools, maybe through other kids. Think through your teenage years. Think through of your first love. Why did your first love say this is not going to work, or it's you who said this is not going to work? You know, is it what some women have said? It's I was faithful in this relationship, but the man cheated, and that's why I no longer want to be in a relationship. And feel free to share your comments below, because it's really good to identify where that wounding comes from. And sometimes when we dig deep, we find that wounding is still raw. It took me years to heal my mother wound. But I'm grateful right now that I was able to. However, when we don't identify where the wound comes from, we look for love outside of ourselves. I want you to write that down as well. We end up looking for love outside of ourselves. That is, oh, that person will come and I'll be okay. Everything will work out once I find love. And there's no bigger lie. Because if you don't fully accept yourself and you don't fully love yourself, then there's no one who can top you. One of the best quotes I ever read, and I think this is another thing to write down: no one can love you more than you love yourself. No one can love you more than you love yourself. No one can love you more than you love yourself. And the importance of self-love. How do we show ourselves self-love? We love ourselves by showing ourselves self-love. And my idea of self-love is investing my energy into myself rather than dispersing it out there. So for example, it's honoring my energy. It's honoring my boundary. It's realizing, you know what, I've worked so hard this week. I deserve just to lay on the bathtub and have a glass of wine or a tub of ice cream. Why? Because it's okay. I'm doing that for me. You know, sometimes you're tired and your friends want to take you out and do this and do that. And you're like, you know what? I just needed me time. I don't feel like going to chat with 20 people today. That is another form of self-love. Self-love can also be telling people, listen, I don't appreciate you talking to me like that. Self-love is teaching people how to treat you. Why? Because you set a template how you want to be treated. You teach people how to treat you. It doesn't matter if it's in the workplace, it doesn't matter if it's in your family, and it doesn't matter if it's in a relationship. Then the other thing is, we have to be aware when we want to get in a relationship, what needs are being met? Whose needs are being met? If people get in relationship from a place of being needy, I need you. I'm with this person because they need me. No, they don't need you. They need their own connection to their own soul, their own God self, their own higher self, the universe, something bigger out there. That's what they need, but they don't need you. You don't need them. Is that making sense? Neediness comes from a feeling of there's something lacking, this scarcity, and I need you to come and fill this gap. And there's nothing that can fill the gap that is for God or the universe or for something, the love of your ancestors, something that's bigger and greater than you. So it's always good to know, okay, I want to be in this relationship, but what needs are being met? I say it a lot with people with pets, and pets really show people up. So for example, you say somebody who's got a dog, and the dog or the puppy 24/7 needs the person. Like they can't even go on holiday because it's so dependent on this one person. You see mothers with children as well, with young babies. You teach the child to be so dependent on you that you cannot even put the baby down without the baby crying and screaming its head off. But in most cases, in those cases, it's usually not, it's not the puppy's or the child's needs being met. It's the mother's need to feel needed that's being served. You see, it's a gaping hole. And that always leads to burnout. So those are some of the things I've realized a lot with women. And sometimes I have my clients send me a picture. They say they're starting their dating life again. And they go like, oh, I found this person. What do you think? I'm like, it's not about what I think. I said the fact you've got doubts about the person, that's already an indication. Although we'll go deeper, we'll look at it deeper. But there are times they'll go like, but I want you to look at the picture. I'm like, okay, I can look at the picture. Then I ask for divine intercession, and then they say, oh, it's not a vibrational match, because that person is good on the outside, looks good on the outside, but they're actually empty on the inside. Right now, women are awakening, which means men are struggling to stay behind. If a man is not ready to raise up a vibration, they have vibration. Women are the ones who are doing work on themselves a lot. This is because I've seen what's happening in workshops, spiritual groups I've been in, and just looking at people are awakening. And men are struggling with relationships breaking down because men have not yet learned, some men have not learned how to deal with emotions. But the other thing is, women are just going like, I want more. I want emotional connection. I want a man I can talk to, not one who will shut their emotions when I'm just saying, we need to work out how to co-parent our children. And then they emotionally shut down because they do not want, or they go stone cold and stonewall you because they do not want to talk about it. I had another lady, a client of mine, who said, I'm just tired because every time he comes home from work, he's just on his phone playing games. And he'll just give the kids some sugar and watch TV, and let them to watch TV, but nothing else in the house will get done. And so when women are realizing, you know what, I want more, I want magic. You're on this call because you also want magic. You want somebody you can be co-creators with. That's something to write down. You want somebody who you want to be co-creators with. What do you mean by co-creator? Somebody who will work with you towards a common goal. Someone who will lift you up the days you're the one lagging behind. Somebody you will lift up when they are lagging behind. Somebody who will protect you energetically. And I've learned this, I learned this the hard way, but you need, traditionally, now look, in every culture, look at the Hawaiians, Africans, any matrilineal society, the men had only one role, and it was to protect the woman from any sort of harm, spiritual harm, physical harm, provide food, provide a home, whether it was in just a small hut, it didn't matter, but he was able to provide for her. And at the same time, protect her on a spiritual level. That was usually the key role of a man. And why? Because women were the leaders. In any matrilineal society, women are the leaders. And those are the societies that thrived. Those are the societies that had harmony and unity. And so anyway, so you've got women were looked upon for spiritual direction and leadership. So spiritual direction and leadership. And when a man is with a woman who's spiritual and consciously awakened, he's connected to source through her. And his job is to protect the woman so she stays on her mission. And that is one of the key I realized along my journey that had not been kind of emphasized enough. And I think it's because it just was not in the consciousness of many people. One of the best relationship advice I ever received, I was in Hawaii, and I'd met a certain kahuna. And kahunas are like, they're born and bred from birth to be spiritual leaders. She was 75th generation of the Pleiadian. Like, her lineage was just remarkable, and she was known as the keeper of wisdom of the ancestor. And so, I'm having this session with Kalei, and I'm going like, Kalei, I need, what's my soul's mission? I was not just getting on my path. I was getting on my soul's path. I was on my soul's journey, my hero's journey. And what had happened previously, anytime I'd ask about my divine mission, what's my soul's purpose on earth, what is my path ahead, it was really funny because the reading that came through was about love and relationships. And anyway, she looked at me and she said to me, when you embrace your magnificence, you'll be able to shine so brightly that he will see you. I remember pausing and just thinking, this is really strange. I said, but I didn't ask about my love life. I just wanted to know about my soul mission. And what I later realized, it's because it was the same. Your soul mission, your love life supports your soul mission. But what I'll tell you what her comment did for me, it stopped me from ever thinking I'll look for love on the outside. To think, oh, is he the one? Is he not? Even when I'd met somebody or somebody says, let's go on a date or I'll take you for dinner. Because I now realized it's somebody who'll see my spark. It's somebody, and he will come to me. And that changed everything for me. So my job was to focus on myself in self-love, healing myself. And when I was bright enough, he did come. He did. And that's a picture of my wedding. And it was such a magnificent day for me because I really felt I was doing this for my mom as well and all the women who come after me. But one of the things I want to show you is what I'm holding, and it's like an ancestral stick. And I chose to really embrace my culture and be honest to who I am. But the reason I'm holding an ancestral stick and not a bouquet, I want to tell you a bit more about my story, is for the longest time, I avoided the idea of getting married because not having grown with my mother, I never knew my biological father. And I really had this resistance to wedding days because who's going to walk me down the aisle? Everybody's like, oh, I have a father. But if you don't have a father figure, then who walks you down the aisle? And for the longest time, I used to think, oh, this uncle, that uncle, this other uncle, and it just didn't work for me. So when I finally decided to empower myself, and this is why for me that was such a monumental day for me. I keep feeling even the emotions as I'm saying it, was when I took that stick, I remember one of the witnesses at the wedding saying, oh, who's going to walk you down the aisle? Do you want us to get you someone, like anyone, to walk you down the aisle? And I remember saying, no, I'll walk by myself. And just like that, I felt so empowered in who I was, in accepting my story, in accepting myself, in loving myself, in being able to have been on the right vibration and stepping into my magnificence, that I was able to shine enough that he saw me and came for me, rather than me chasing the love. Because when we chase love and we've got the wrong template of love, then we'll make the mistakes. you see? But if you hold the vibration of the love you seek for yourself, then you only got one job: to match the vibration of the person you intend to be with. Match the vibration of who you intend to be with. And when I say that, what I'm meaning is, what qualities do you want in a relationship? What qualities do you want in your ideal partner? In my case, Charlie, there's humility. I needed somebody who was generous in spirit. I needed somebody who would respect my culture. I needed somebody who would love me unconditionally for my story and my journey and everything I've been through, and honor that. And I needed somebody who would also believe in me and my potential, and somebody who will be like, add the wind behind my sails, or add the wood to the fire so that it becomes a bigger fire, you know? And his gentleness, for me, it was like the gentleness. And when I'm saying this, I'm thinking of the qualities Jesus had, because even men can have very soft feminine qualities, like gentleness. They can be very considerate towards others. They can be very loving, can be very generous. And I remember when I took Charlie to Kenya, I remember all these kids coming to adopt him. They just loved him. They just loved him. But all I'm trying to say is, I had to make sure I was matching those vibrations. I was matching that vibration. And it's funny because when I did, I was able, it's like our paths were brought together. I also want to share with you how we actually met. We'd met in a conference, a public speaking conference. Like this is, I don't know, I think 2015, somewhere there. And during the conference, you don't get to talk. But what was funny, we happened to be at the airport and he was flying back to Brisbane. I was living in Western Australia. And we were having a coffee after the conference, going like, all I knew is this was the easiest conversation I've ever had with a male. He's such a good listener. And sometimes I remind myself to listen to him as well. Like I do a lot of the talking, but now I'm like, no, but he was a really good, patient listener. And I was like, and what was interesting for me as a woman, I remember even when we met, it is so refreshing when you meet a man who respects you. I don't know if in your past, but what had happened when I was younger, I knew what it was like to even meet people, whether you've gone at a party, whether even people at uni, or people in the workplace once you start working. But even just after a coffee date, you see the man is trying to sleep with you. And I remember just thinking, there's that conditioning where people, they try to take it too fast. And when I met him, he was the most calm, respectful person. And I was thinking, goodness, this was so effortless. Write that down. The key word is effortless. It was so effortless. I felt so safe in his vicinity. I didn't feel he was trying to do anything. I just felt safe as a woman around him. And anyway, so we're having coffee after the conference, and he's just about to catch his flight. Everybody was just flying back after the conference. And we say goodbye to each other. He goes through security and they get on the plane, and I'm just still there at the airport. And then we wait for like a 5-10 minutes. And I see everybody who was on the plane off, and now the airport is filling with people. And he's standing there with his suitcase going like. So anyway, what had happened, they got on the flight and they put their seatbelts on, and they just had, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, apologies, but this plane has a technical issue, and we'll have to get a technician from Perth. We'll have to ask you to, get off board. And what had happened there, I think, I always say, I think it's my team and my ancestors that did that. But it gave us 4 extra hours to sit down and have a longer coffee. You know, that was like a half an hour coffee before. And it was in that 4 hours that we had such an in-depth conversation that by the time he was getting on the plane again, because the plane was delayed by 4 hours, it was a synchronicity. Like if you're meant to meet the person, not even a plane, doesn't matter if they live in another country, things will come back. Planes can be delayed, rerouted. People can get jobs in that country. So love is just the most powerful force in the universe. But I do remember it was in those 4 hours that I think we cemented that connection. And I remember flying back to Karatha thinking, oh my God, what a wonderful human being, if that makes sense. Okay, so what I'll do for you now, before we continue, I want you to go to the chat box and put any questions you have. Any questions you may have about love? Because the purpose of this is to expand your thinking beyond what you have been told, to consider other avenues, other faculties. You can just type in the chat box. Yeah, thank you for sharing your story, Kageni. My question is, how do you know not to confuse the signs of the universe that people who come your way are meant for you? That's a really, really good question. How do you know not to confuse the signs of the universe that the people who come your way are meant for you? Okay. One of the best things you can do is to ask for a sign. The best thing you can ever do for yourself, like for example, if you're like, I'm not really sure if this is the person, ask for a sign. And there's a prayer. There's a prayer I was given by Kalei as well. And this prayer works for everything else. It says, Dear God within, please place me in my sweet spot today and every day. And send me signs that I will understand. I say thank you. Yeah. So it's about, our soul sends us signs, but if we are not in tune, we miss the signs. So and as part of when we exfoliate the soul, then there's no static in the line. The static around our soul comes from our emotions, from our thoughts, and from our past experiences, and all the other junk, even our ancestral past life junk. All that creates, it's like, because we should just be able to pick up the phone and dial and say, hey, I want this clear. But what usually happens for people is they have a way that they know something is for them. You know, do you know people who get goosebumps? Or do you get goosebumps? Yeah. Ish. Everybody, yeah. Some people get tearful, some people get goosebumps. I know, like for Charlie, he gets all his hair standing up if something really resonates. So it's really easy for people who are in tune to just get that. But you need to know the feeling that is a yes. There's a feeling you get. And this is another thing I've come to learn, which is sometimes we'll ask for love, but we are not ready for what we are asking for because we've not done the work. So I have seen this happen a lot to people. So they get into a relationship that will completely break them open. And that was not the relationship, but it was part of the relationship so that they're ready for the real thing. Why? Because they needed to, especially if we are not seeing our own magnificence, or sometimes, it will be, there's something called contrast in the universe. When we don't know what we want, the universe gives us a contrast of what we do not want. So that when we're setting that intention forward, we are saying to ourselves, we're setting that intention forward, then we're telling the universe, I don't know what I want, but I don't want that. Because we don't know what we want, so it gives you what you don't want first. So that's how it happens. The other thing, would you like one card? I pull your card. Cards are really good. Cards are really found cards to give us the insights we need. And the other thing you need to know, everything works in divine timing. Not the timing we think, but the timing. So everything you want to work, just say for the will of God. Oh, the seer card. Isn't that funny? This is interesting. What does the seer represent? So the seer, I find pulling an angel card really, really, really helps, especially when you're like really want to get clear. Look beyond your current situation, raise your vibration, and focus on love. Most indigenous people have a seer in the family or a tribe. Seers are intelligent and intuitive beings who serve as direct channels for information on what's occurring now and what's about to unfold. Their energy isn't about predicting your future for you. It is about showing you how your intentions are creating it. Your intentions is what's creating your future. A true seer will help you see that your intentions can change. Therefore, can your future. The message of this card is to let the clairvoyant within you rise up so that you can see the way forward for yourself with your own spiritual eyes. Clairvoyance isn't about predicting the future. It's about being able to see clearly enough, create your best future. You are being encouraged by your ancestral guides and angels to see beyond what you think is happening right now. Don't allow your ego or doubts to play games with you. Instead of seeing yourself as stuck or lost, know you are in an energetic holding space, while the universe recalibrates a path that is more favorable for you. Angels of light are upgrading your energy so your experiences can be more enjoyable. You are moving towards something extremely uplifting and enlightening, So stay calm and keep your eyes on the prize. Oh dear. I would so like to know what you thought about that. uh, it's your intentions create your future. And I really like the part of you are in an energetic space. And all the angels and you, they're helping you upgrade your vibration. And I love the word, it's upgrade. It's upgrading that. And then you can, while you focus on the love, you're focusing on what you want. And I think it's a really good exercise. What do I want in my life? To write that down, even though it's later. What do I want in my life? And in terms of what do I want, it can be material things, but that's obvious to see. But when I think of what I want, I always think of the emotion I want to feel. So it's like, I want peace, I want love, I want prosperity, I want abundance, I want joy in my life, I want peace, I want my solutions to come easy. So it's really good to focus on how you want to feel when you have what you want. And then from that, the car, the house, the job is just part of it. All right. So now what we're going to do, we need to do an exercise. And in this exercise, I want you to draw at the top of the page, I might just get a whiteboard. I want you to draw a mountain, like, here's my mountain. And I want you to draw a river. This is known as your river of life. And here, this is the ocean of life. River of life. And so right now, what we're gonna do, this process is known as a river of life. So as we go through life is meant to be like a river. You know, water changes shape and form as it goes forward. But as we go through our river of life, what happens? The water starts really pure and clean and fresh and crisp here. And then as we go down, somewhere here, let me do a different color. There's a swamp somewhere. Something got stuck somewhere. You know, maybe it was when we are 18, the first love, the first person who we loved. So the water starts getting bumpy. Then we go a bit deeper there. Then maybe we experience things like betrayal. So we start getting more, the water starts getting swampy. So there it gets stuck. Then we move. Then there's a waterfall. There's a waterfall there. So all this becomes the emotional blocks in any relationships. And sometimes it's not necessarily love relationship as in relationship-wise, but it could be with family. I've seen people who are bullied in school in their teenage years, and that created another swamp here. So this exercise will help you identify where your emotional blocks are. And it's such a powerful exercise that even just to know what those blocks are, you understand where the energy is not flowing freely in your life. So what we're going to do in this exercise, I'll just ask you to close your eyes and I'll play one of the, it's a Tibetan bowl, and I'll lead you towards the river of life. And I want you to pay attention what is coming up in your consciousness. There could be things that you may have forgotten, but they'll come up on the surface. You just allow it to bubble up. And then at the end of it, you'll write it on your river of life, what came up. Allow yourself to relax. Call in your guides, all the beings who love you unconditionally, your ancestors, ascended masters, archangels. Now you see yourself in your most favorite place in nature, somewhere where there's water, at the mouth of your river of life. And there's a small boat. Inside the boat are two of your guides. They take your hand and they allow you and help you up upon the boat. And they'll start rowing downstream through all your life experiences, showing you what needs to be healed. Any emotional blocks will be revealed to your consciousness as you reach the waterfalls and the swamps of your life, or the places where the energy is not flowing due to a past experience. We'll start rowing down the stream from your current age and we'll keep going round till you reach the ocean, which is when you are in your mother's womb about to be conceived. But for now, you'll start looking back and go to last year. What happened in 2020? And what emotions are you holding there? Then you go a bit further back. You're going through 2019, 2018. Without judging yourself, just pay attention to what's coming on the surface. 2017, 2016, 2015, Now the river starts moving really fast, and it will start going down in 5-year decrements. From 2010 to 2005. To 2000. When people thought the world was ending, 2000 to 1990, you're just going backwards in time. Through high school, through your teenage years, you're just going backwards in time. To 1980. And you can go back to the point where you were born, however far back you need to go. Just see yourself as a child, at the age of 3, and how you looked at life, how you perceived life. How do you keep your heart open, your sense of wonder, and your creativity? And now you see yourself in your mother's womb at 9 months. While your body is forming, ready to come out into the world. Eight months old. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Utero. To the moment you were conceived, and how excited you are to have a human body to experience the gift of life. Now I want you to hover above your parents' heads just before the moment you were conceived. When you knew you had chosen your parents. It doesn't matter if you do not know who your parents are. Somebody still gave birth to you. On an energetic level, you still can access that energy. And now we look on your mother's side, and you want to see your mother as a little girl. Maybe you're finding her at a time in her life when she was upset, maybe crying. And there's so much about our parents we do not know. But in this moment, you'll go hold your mother like you'd hold a child and comfort them. You are mothering your mother. And now you'll go back and do the same for your father. Find him when he was a little boy. At time he was upset, maybe crying. And you're going to hold him and give him the nurturing love and comfort he needs. Then you'll bring your mother and father together as little children and bring their hands together that they are holding their hands together. So that they will bring a beautiful union for you to come into this world. Whatever the circumstances, it was perfect for your soul, for your soul's growth. And now just take a few moments to go through what has come up for you, where you may still be having emotional blocks throughout your life's journey. And what you're going to do is to slowly start coming around and write it on your river of life. You have till the end of the song to write as much as you can on your river of life. You can add more later. And now just type in the chat just one word of what that exercise has done for you. Try find one word. There may be many. The first time I did it, I found it very profound. Revealing, yes, definitely. That is exactly what it is. And sometimes it takes us to go back the whole journey to really see it's not one thing, it's a combination of many things, and then it becomes like a domino effect, you know? And without like realizing all those needs have to be healed so that everything flows smoothly. A lot of people make the mistake of pushing it on the side, you know, wrapping it under the carpet. But what I've found, they come back later stronger than ever, and they cost us a lot of time. A lot of our energy has to go into those blocks just for us to be able to, because like you're moving against the resistance. We lose a lot of energy. Sometimes we're not feeling motivated. We feel slowed down. That's the thing. It's and then the emotional pain especially really slows us down. And we may then shut good experiences for us. One of the best quotes, actually, I shared this, it went, a lot of people loved it. And it was like, heal so that you don't push away the people the universe has sent to you. That's a good one, yeah. Heal so that you do not push away the people the universe sends to you. And being able to identify those blocks and clearing that is what that allows us. So heal so that we don't push away the people the universe sends to us. So just so we finish the rest of this presentation. Yeah, but in truth is that you are magnificent and you have the power to create a better future for yourself. And so today what we're going to do, rather than, because now you've identified where your blocks are, we are going to smoothen those blocks so that they're easier for you. So we'll do another quick guided meditation, which will be a healing one. It's a soul activation. And this will allow you to see what is your next step. What's the one thing you need to do to start moving forward? And before we do this, just know you can just check my link below, but you can go on my scheduler if you want just to have a chat and see maybe you want me to help you more with that. And you can just book a 30-minute free call, and just then we can chat deeper into it. But the link will be there below. It's just School of Magnificence consultation. It's just to have a chat. Like there is nothing I'm selling you. There's no hidden contracts. There's nothing. This is for other people also who will listen to this later. And maybe you're wondering, oh, how can you help me clear some of these blocks? Because not all blocks we can clear by ourselves. Even healers need healers. But some blocks, like today, you'll be able maybe to feel a bit lighter, because some of them you can actually start working on now. So anyway, so we'll just do the soul activation now. And now all you have to do is just to put your pen aside. And this one will be the healing meditation. Allow yourself to take in a deep breath and relax. Remembering you're removing the blocks to love. And love is the most powerful force in the universe. And you're going to surrender. Imagine your river of life was like a single thread with knots on it. And you're going to roll it into a ball. Just see your whole river of life from 2021 rolling back all the way till you're neutral. Before you were conceived, just see it all becoming into one single ball. All those experiences, good or bad, they're in there. And your guides are standing next to you. And you're all standing near a furnace. This furnace is of the violet flame. The violet flame transmutes negative energy into positive energy. It's a gift of the Holy Spirit. And you're going to give all that and free yourself from it to your guides, from your hands to their hands. And they'll put it inside. Inside the furnace. And you'll see each of those situations, especially where the energy is stuck, starting to loosen. Like when you soak your clothes. That's right. I'll give you a few moments to do this. And give your guides permission to put anything else you may have forgotten or anything you may not have remembered, but they know is something that is blocking you on your path as you focus on love and create the future you deserve for yourself, knowing that you're worthy of love. And now you can take in a deep breath. And exhale. And just feel your feet on the earth and make sure to ground yourself. You can walk outside, drink some water afterwards. And you slowly start calming down. Now you need to move your body. Get up. Show us your moves. Yay! right. Yay. All right. I'll show you a few things. Just follow. That's it. That's it. And just feel that joy going through your body. Well done. We'll move the shoulders. That's it. You're just shaking everything off. Then you go down. Up. Just see everything being shaken off. Everything you don't need. Just out. Give it to the ancestors. Alright. Alright, now they're saying, bring the goodness in. Bring the goodness in. Bring the blessings in. Let it rain. Top yourself up. Top yourself with the love. Now you top yourself till you're overflowing in everything, in abundance, in health, in love, joy, happiness, peace, wisdom, all those godly qualities. Woo! Woo! I'm worthy and deserving. Top me up. I'm claiming what's mine. I'm claiming my inheritance from my ancestors. I'm claiming my magnificence. I'm claiming my love. Woo! Well done. Okay. Woo! And now, once you're overflowing, you can share it with others. You give it to the universe. Yeah, you just share it. You're so overflowing that you've got enough to give others as well. Woo! Everywhere in your life, you bring the good vibrations with you. You got a lot to give. Woo! That's awesome. That's wonderful. Well done. Yeah! And you feel great. Love is possible. That's beautiful. Good. And always remember that you are magnificent. Magnificent. You are magnificent.